come on in, just because, and he is great. He's... All right, Gary.
I don't know anything. I just didn't say anything.
All right, come in. I think that might be a distraction. Gary, I'd like you to meet Austin and Diana.
Hi, nice to meet
Austin, how do you do?
I'm Diana.
Diana,
Nice to
how do
meet
you
you,
do?
Gary.
And please just explain, your background, you're going to school, all of those things.
Yeah. I'm coming, my name is Austin Escobedo, and I'm from Northern California, coming down here for school and participating in the programs at City College and just pursuing an education there.
Okay. Can you speak up a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
A little hard of hearing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm from City College and just taking time, we want to interview you, kind of interested about what your life, what have you been doing, and
Okay.
just
Okay.
a little bit about you,
All right. Well, I brought some things to show you that are, I think, presentable enough to show you about my life. It's been varied, Are you going to, ask questions?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so where are you from originally?
Okay, originally I was born in Los Angeles, California, and lived in downtown LA, then moved out to the airport when I was younger, and by the Westchester, California. That's where I went to high school, and I was a baseball player, and I was
Nice.
voted the best baseball player in 1965 in Los Angeles.
Whoa.
And from that's my name right there. And from that, I got a contract to play for the Angels,
Whoa.
in minor league team.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Okay, so that's where I started.
Whoa.
Basically, that's where I went to school there, went to college there, got married there, had a baby there, so forth and so on, and moved up here in 1985, and I was in a partnership with 5 people. There was a business going called Airborne Express, and it used to be FedEx and Airborne Express. And Airborne Express was like a contract, where you would contract with the company, and I did that for 11 years. And I had an office right out on the airport, and it was great. And then got underbid, lost the contract. And then from that I went into my mother became ill, and I had to take care of my mother, because she's from the old school where they didn't want to put her in a home. She didn't want to be outside of her home. So I left here, went back to LA for a while, took care of her till she passed. And then from there I went to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii I moved back here.
Oh, okay.
And then by that time I'd been, now I'm retired here. Now this time around I get to enjoy it.
So what did you like most about playing baseball? How was it influenced, your life?
Well, it was that's what I was raised to be by my father. I started playing baseball when I was 4, if you can imagine.
So
He
played
would
baseball
throw the
too?
ball at me and it'd hit me, and eventually I woke up and would, this big old mitt on my hand, put it up and I'd stop the balls. And that's what he planned on for me to do, was play baseball.
Were you a pitcher or?
I did everything. I played every position you could play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I was left-handed, and I even played catcher.
Yeah. Which position did you enjoy the most?
Well, the position I won the award for was outfield.
Outfield. Okay.
I played outfield, and I had a very, very good season. And I don't know if familiar with baseball. Or,
Yeah.
well, in that season I committed no errors. I never struck out, and I never walked.
Whoa.
So every time I batted, I hit the ball somewhere.
Nice.
So eventually I ended up with a very
That's
good
hard.
batting average, and
That's pretty good.
won the award, and got to play with the Angels. which didn't turn out, but it was okay. It was during the early 60s, and in the early 60s, they were building teams bigger.
Yeah.
And you had to be taller. And when there was a guy on the Angels, his name was Albie Pearson, and he's 5'7", and that's what I am, 5'7". And he got demoted when I was in the minor league team, and he was playing for the Angels out in left field, and he was like my hero, you know.
Yeah.
But then I had a very good season with the Angels, and I don't know if you've seen some of these baseball films where the coach brings a guy in, and I don't know. I think one of these guys, and he goes, the coach set me down. He goes, "Oh, you're the best baseball player I've ever seen, but you're too short." And that was my father's dream down the drain.
Oh, man.
So when I was 18, I had to come up with something else to do.
So how did that affect you? Like,
Oh, it shattered.
It shattered.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was good enough to play Major League Baseball. I could hit a ball over 400 feet, you know.
Yeah.
But they just wanted to make the teams bigger. So I went from that to. So I tried to become a fireman, but there was a height requirement. See, which has now been voted illegal. They can't do this anymore. But you had to be 5'10". So I was like 2 inches shorter for that. So then I went to the police department. Same thing, height requirement. This was early 60s. So I couldn't so I didn't know it. So I went back to school, you know. And I played baseball in school, and but didn't do very well. And I had to work. My parents didn't have enough money to. They sent my sister, my older sister, to college, and I have two sisters, both older. And the first one never went to college. The second one went to college, and I couldn't get any money. Back in the early 60s, if you were Caucasian, you couldn't get loans, and the loans were going for minority people, and they were getting free money, and my sister got all the loans that was allotted my family, so I had to work and go to school. So I was always working and going to school, and that didn't pan out, obviously. So I never graduated.
Oh, okay.
But I went back. I went to Norway, to visit where my grandfather was born, and I was given an honorary diploma from the university there, from Larvik, and you can see this is how. When they showed me how my name was spelled, you can see G. Ericsson is Ckson. When I went to Norway, my family has been in Norway for hundreds of years, and we own property there.
They spell it differently.
And when they saw this guy, they went nuts. And this is how the Norwegians spell Ericsson. And this was given to me. I spoke in front of about 85 people in an auditorium. And the mayor, Mr. Hansen, he gave me an honorary diploma, you know. So I got my honorary college degree.
Nice.
Why I went back is because I was interested in my heritage, you know, because my grandfather always amazed me. He was a self-made man. Never went to school, you know. When he was in Norway, when he was young, he learned a trade. He learned how to make paint.
Okay.
Okay, so when he came over here, he was a tradesman. Okay, but they called him the Rebel. Okay, his name was Nels, my middle name, Marinus, which means Marina, Ericsson, but they called him the Rebel because when he was 17, he left. And his means of transportation was a whaling ship. And this is in the late 1800s, where the vessels were just under sail, no motors. And the whaling ship here, I wanted to show you that. This is a sperm whale's tooth.
Tooth. Whoa.
That's just one tooth. That's one of the smaller ones. And he gave me that when I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagine the size of that whale, huh?
Yeah, like I don't know what the ratios are like for teeth, but it must have been.
This was this was like not one of the larger ones, but it was see like this is like the root going in, so it was like one of the front ones.
So he was a fisherman.
He was a whaler,
Oh,
as it's called back then.
Did you ever go with him?
No, I never would. He just used the whaling ship. He was quite an accomplice. I have a knife from him that it's exclusively used by sailors to cut the lines. You don't call
who
it.
was this? Was this your?
It's beautiful. I should have brought it down, but it's from the early 1800s too, and he had it on the sailing ship.
So who were we talking about? Your
my father's side's grandfather.
Your grandfather.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now my father was the first of Ericsson born in the United States. My grandfather was from Norway. He had my father, who was born in Brooklyn, New York. And he married a lady that was from Ireland, if you can imagine that. So I had a Norwegian or an Irish lady. Her name was O'Berry.
Oh, yeah.
And my grandfather was raised Lutheran, of course, Norwegian. And she was staunch Catholic. And so it was like fire and water, but they lived together until they went on.
So did that affect you?
No.
So
I was too young. My grandfather scared me, and my grandmother ignored me. He was a very old school type person, you know. He wasn't. It was just do as you're told, you know, basically.
Were you ever married?
Yes, I got married when I was 19. Had a little girl. She's grown and gone. Yeah. And married for 8.5 years, which didn't work out. But during that time, I got to. Here's my other distinguishing thing.
Oh yeah.
I was part of a sister city group with Guaymas, Mexico, in Sonora County in Mexico, and as you can see, they're famous for their shrimp.
Oh yeah.
And and sailing and shrimp, and their shrimp used to be. I got to know this is Felipe Barcena, and he was the mayor of the town, and his son, who was also Felipe, stayed with my family up here and went to UCLA.
So what was your time? That was what you were doing in Mexico?
No, that was just during a festival. The sister cities visit one another, but in between after this one, he stayed with my family and my sister, myself, for 4 years while he went to UCLA. And it was like we just housed him, and I helped him in Los Angeles, you know, to get used to being an American. The guy was a genius, and he wanted to make Mexico computer savvy. And this was the start of the computer age, you know, and where if you did a program that was done with cards, like, you know, the X's and O's and all that stuff, and they did all their stuff off of Texas Instrument calculators, you know, where they did all their work. Yeah. And he found out that this instrument was off by 0.002 of a point or something like that, way beyond me. Yeah. And sent it into the Texas Instruments, and they offered him a job. It's a genius man, and but he was way too ahead of his time for Mexico, and went back to Mexico, and they were computer, just nobody wanted to go ahead. So he ended up being a pig farmer.
So what kind of influence did he have on you?
Oh, great influence. His father, more than the son. The son was very gracious. He's a gentleman like you know, very nice and soft-spoken. His father was a very proud man. He had a great influence on me. He was a mayor of a town and a very good businessman. And he told me that he taught me some very good lessons about life, you know, and I had sort of a built-in self-respect, you know, and with anything you try to do your best.
So he gave you more confidence in life.
Well,
and,
just
like,
you know,
with anything
he
you
showed
do.
me that you could do anything you want, as long as you want to do it and be honest about it and be honest with yourself. And if you strive hard, it may take you a long time, but you can do anything you want. He gave me great confidence, and from that, I went out and. Well, I was sort of influenced by my grandfather in a passive way because he was a self-made man. He did everything. He had the contract for painting all the cathedrals in Los Angeles.
Wow.
He painted all the churches, and you know how ornate that is. With the gold leaf and everything. Then
Wow.
he made his own paints. So I mean, he was an inspiration. Felipe Barcelona Sr. was an inspiration.
So, what I want to try to focus more on like you as like a person.
Mm.
So, what experience in your life do you think changed you the most?
Mm. Well, having to face having everything and losing everything, and then having to go on and go again. Like being a baseball player, losing all of that, losing that dream, and not really having another dream, no backup plan. I was always that was it. I was going to be a baseball player, and then I had to figure out something to do, and I decided, well, whatever I did, and I worked for various companies, and but I would work for a long time. And I worked for the airlines, and that's how I got back to Norway, and then moved from Los Angeles to San Diego, and I worked for Arrowhead Water Company for 12 years. And then I injured myself, and lost all of that. And then I got divorced, and I had a home with a lot of land, and I had stocks and all that stuff. And, so then there was the second time where dreams were, but I just, it was okay because I've been through it before. And I realized this is just life, I mean, life is up and downs, and you have to be able to be ready. Mm-hmm. So just my dealings with life has been a great influence, being able just to handle it, I guess, and go on.
Wow, yeah. Takes a lot of, like...
Internal...
Yeah, like willpower.
Willpower,
yeah.
Right. And I had to, that was sort of in me.
That's great. So, let me think. What gave you the most happiness in life?
I'll tell you right now, I mean, in all of my life,
Yeah, like anything.
I love travel.
Traveling?
Right now, I'm happy being right here, being in Santa Barbara. I've never been happier.
Yeah?
Yeah, and this because I get to enjoy Santa Barbara, and I've had the same girl for a long time. We've been together for a long time, and I helped raise her daughter's grandchildren, and they've all grown and gone, and now I get to live here. And I volunteer here. I take care of I don't know if you met the two dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take care of the dogs, and I take care of the bird, and
Yeah, I
they
saw
called me
that following you over here.
yeah, but he didn't want them to come in. I was gonna let them come in. And there's Kiwi and Coco, and I take care of them, and I volunteer around here, and I get to talk to people here.
So what do you like the most?
Okay, the most
out of
thing
Santa Barbara?
about life I like is meeting people, listening to people. I love to listen. I don't. I really hesitant about talking about myself. Putting myself up as a figure to be.
You like to be more modest.
Right.
Yeah.
And but I enjoy talking to people, and I enjoy travel. And I've been to Europe and Canada, Mexico, Hawaii, all the states. But see, that it was always during working and going to school, and when summer on breaks, I would have a job